Thank you for visiting my channel. This is Susan Lee Rose, and today I'm going to show you how to make this front panel shaker card. This whole entire piece right here is a shaker card. So cute. And we're going to make this really easy because we're going to use a pattern paper that already has all the details on it that will work out perfect. So let's get started. Okay, for this craft, you're going to need a piece of craft cardstock that's cut 4 1/4 by 11 inches, and we're going to score it at 5 1/2 just to make your standard card base. You're also going to need some kind of clear packaging. This is just one of those little pockets like you can store your stamps in. That's what I'm going to be using today. We're going to need a stamp set. I'm using the All Occasion stamp set from Maymay Made It, and we're going to be using this Season's Greetings right here. Then you're also going to need just a scrap of red cardstock. We're going to be using the Merry and Bright paper set from Maymay. This has some beautiful papers in it. We're going to actually go in here and pull out one of the decorative papers that's already kind of all decorated like this. I'm not going to use that one, but you can see they have some really beautiful papers. The quality is unbelievable. So we're going to go with this one because we're going to cut this little guy out. So let's set that aside, and I'm going to flip through the rest of the papers just to give you an idea of how beautiful this paper really is. The double-sided paper, and these are just 2 sheets of cut aparts. I love the really vintage feel of this kit. It's just fantastic. The quality is just really, I was really happy with it. All right, so let me pull out my paper cutter, and we're going to trim off this section right here. Now we're going to cut this down to 5 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to cut the 5 1/4 first. 5 1/4, and then we're going to cut the 4" side. So you can see there's really very little decoration that's going to go into this. I mean, this is already completely ready just to go. It's, you know, you could make a card just with that and put a sentiment on it and just be good to go. Now you're also going to want to cut your packaging. Now we're going to want to cut this 6 inches. So I'm going to make it just slightly larger than 6 inches so I can trim it down a little bit more so I get the bottom and the top cut off. So it's going to be 6 inches. And this is going to give us 2 pieces. Then we're going to cut it down here. We're going to cut it to 4 3/4. So there's 4 3/4. We're going to go and do it 5 to trim off the sides that are sealed. 4 3/4. All right, so we have our shaker pocket all ready to go. We'll set this others aside here. Throw that in the trash. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of double-sided tape, and we're going to put it around the 4 sides of this card front here that we're building, the shaker card front that we're building. So I'm going to put a strip right here across the top. And then I'm going to put a piece on here on the bottom. Just like so. And then we're just going to put a piece on either side. This is going to hold that packaging pocket that we're creating on the front, the shaker pocket on the front. This is going to hold that down really good. All right, so we've gotten that done. So now we're going to remove the backing from the 2 sides and the bottom of the double-sided tape. And sometimes my double-sided tape doesn't, there it goes. It doesn't want to come up, or it wants to pull the whole piece up, not just the backing. That one's doing, let's see, there you go. So we've got that peeled up. Now we're going to take our pocket right here. We're going to lay the card front face down. And then we're just going to take the sides of the pocket and we're just going to roll it up and tack it down to that sticky double-sided tape. I'm just going to do this side now. Let's get that on there nice and tightly. And then we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. Just turn that up. And so now we've made the pocket for the front of the card. I like to trim these little, I don't know, I call them wings, but I like to trim these little wings off because they show through the other side and sometimes they just create a, too much bulk for it. So we're just going to trim those off like that. Nice and simple, right? So now we're going to take some Faux Snow. I got this at Dollar Tree. You can probably find it other places. Usually Dollar Tree has this at Christmas time. And so I always kind of stock up when I see it because I do use it quite often for things like this. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the Faux Snow. That's kind of hard to say, isn't it, y'all? And I'm going to end up getting it all over the place. We're going to put some of the Faux Snow in the shaker front. Put however much you want to put in there, how much or how little you want to. As you can see, this stuff makes a mess. And so I'm going to take a minute real quick and kind of get this cleared off so it's not sticking to the rest of the project. All right. So at this point, we're just going to remove the backing here from this top tape here. And we're just going to do like we did on the other three sides, And we're just going to roll that down to stick down. And then I'm just going to, again, I just trim those corners so they don't show through on the other side and they don't add any bulk. Simple, simple. So you've got the shaker portion done. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to glue this to the front of the card base. And you're going to want to attach it with some glue, some really good sturdy glue. I like the Barely Art Precision Glue. That's what I generally use the most often. I used to be an art glitter glue girl, but I've had too many bottles that have, I don't know, it changes texture or something. I don't know. It's just really, really weird. So I haven't been using it anymore. I haven't had that same problem with this glue. As you can see, I'm very clumsy. I'm dropping things around. So now we're going to place this onto the front of the card base. Now, because it's kind of sticky, it's kind of slick, I like to put some clips on here to kind of hold it in place till it dries a little bit better. That slick just does not really want to stick as well on its own. That, and it's kind of a little bit bulky, so sometimes it's a little bit hard to keep it to stick down. So we're just going to go on and hold those down with some clips, and then we're just going to set this aside for a minute. So now we've already attached the shaker card to the front, so we're going to take and go ahead and stamp our sentiment. Now, like I said, we are using the sentiment from the All Occasions stamp set. I Maymay made it. We're going to be using that Season's Greetings statement sentiment there. We're going to be trimming this down, so I just kind of get it on there as close as I can, so I'm not having to trim up so much. And I'm going to pick that up on my Misty, reposition this a little bit. I'm going to go over this with my anti-static powder bag. And then we're going to stamp it with our Versamark ink. This is a nice watermark ink for embossing. We're going to end up embossing this with our gold embossing powder. All right, so we're going to stamp that one more time. I always like to double stamp when it comes to the Versamark. I don't know why. I just think I get a better impression and a better embossing when I do. All right, so we've got that done. You see it? All right, we're going to set this aside, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our gold embossing powder on here. I'm going to just get this little piece of paper that I use here to put the embossing powder back into the container. I want that to look nice. That looks good. All right, let's put the embossing powder back into the container. All right. And now we are going to heat emboss this. So I'm just going to grab my heat embosser right here and let it warm up. It's going to be loud for a minute, so I won't talk. So it embossed really, really nicely. I'm going to kind of let that cool off. And then I'm going to take just this little brush, just a blending brush, and just kind of brush away any of the powder, anything that's on there. So now we're just going to trim this down to the size that we want it to be. I don't really need that out. Pull my chair up here. It makes it a little bit easier for me to do this. And I'm going to actually start at the bottom. I want to kind of make sure that the bottom of the writing is even, and then I'm going to very carefully, if I can keep it even, I'll move that up to about there. And I'm just going to trim it. And we're just going to do that on all four sides of this sentiment. It's a very simple card. As you can see, it's really quick to put together because you already have, the page is already all decorated with that image straight from the paper, which is really handy, and it does make it where you can work up some really quick cards. And a lot of times when you're card making and things like that, you would have a hard time using those kind of papers because, you know, they're too big for, you know, a card front or whatever. But in this instance, I think that it works really, really nice on that image. Here's the finished one. I think that that image on the front does all of the speaking for you. I mean, it just is a very simple card to put together, but because it has the entire front as a shaker, it really just gives it some pizzazz, I guess. So we're going to attach this to the front of the card. Let's take these clips off. We're going to attach the sentiment to the front of the card with some double-sided tape. This is double-sided foam tape. I'm just going to get that on there and mount that on there so it's a little bit raised.
This is a reminder. Time for the girls to go to bed. This is a reminder. Time for the girls to go to bed.
See, I thought I would finish before the alarm went off. All right, so we got this done, and we're just going to mount this on the front. We are foster parents, and we currently have 5 kids in our house. We have 3 girls. We have a boy who's a foster child, plus our own 17-year-old son. And it can often be quite an adventure, and it's usually we're pretty busy. So we've got that put on there. Isn't that cute, y'all? I mean, look how simple those are. They're so cute. They're interactive because they have a little shaker element. You could use any kind of paper behind that. You could use stamped images. I mean, this is endless uses. So this is our project. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I hope that you'll come back and visit me again. If you like this video and you want to see more of my content, I would love for you to like and subscribe to my channel. So y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you later. Bye.